All right, beloveds. Hi. So it's really great to see you this Thursday, January 23rd. Gosh, January is moving along, but this topic is related to where we are in the calendar year with the newness. And actually, as I'm saying this, I'm remembering what I learned, like that in the Chinese calendar, the new year is actually, I think it's in February. It might even be March, but it's later because, and it's like there's time, almost it's more in alignment with the springtime, the spring equinox, that the new year falls. And that aside, this is about kind of like about temperance, for the temperance of being human and being very spiritual and knowing you're a very spiritual being and you're very spiritually connected. But when does spirituality become a hindrance is the question and the topic. And I can say that my whole last year has shown me a lot about how I have let my spirituality be a hindrance. So I'm going to be very vulnerable sharing that that I've spent a lot of my time on my own in my when I'm in those kind of dark places in my brain sometimes, luckily not a lot, but sometimes thinking, when am I going to be saved? And I'm smiling about it today because I'm not in that place, thank goodness. And I've done a lot of work to not be in. I've had even some great assistance to not be, because I could still be in that place. But I received a diagnosis like probably 14, 15 months ago, of a recurrence of cancer. And I'm feeling really, really wonderful and things are looking good. And I don't know the full prognosis, but I always want to say things are good. And it is part of my reality. And I spent like, I'm actually going to talk about this because when I first had the realization and the learning, I assumed that I would be dealing with it purely spiritually, to be honest. And I just assumed energy, my mind, my thoughts, that kind of thing would heal me. And perhaps it did, perhaps it has to a large extent, but it hasn't been the whole picture, because I'm in this human body that's three-dimensional, or it's multi-dimensional also, but I'm in this human body that needs things that aren't even spiritual at all, like really, really healthy food and supplements and some medicines and trying different things and exercise, in fact, and sunlight and what else? Really healthy water and love and people and touch and friendships. So it's been such a journey, because the topic of this is about when spirituality gets in the way, because I've had also some readings recently where it's been a theme. It's been a theme for me. It's a theme in January very often for a lot of us, to take care of the physical things, like time to get your books in order for the year, time to prep for taxes, time to create your new budget, time to create your new intention and vision board, time to do some planning, literally, of things that you want to do throughout the year. And those have nothing to do with being spiritual on one hand. But what I'm talking about now and learning, and I've been learning to navigate more, and it's what I teach a lot, is how I've always said, and because I was taught this, spirit meets me in the point of action, in this tangible body, in this daily 3D or 5D or whatever you want to call it, reality. I'm still the one that has to take action in the physical and do things in the physical. And sometimes those have nothing to do with how psychic I am, how how many, beings I can talk to. It doesn't even matter at all on some level when it comes to a lot of things that we're here to experience or here for, or that are here to teach us, or that just need to be taken care of in the day to day. And I think I know, again, I'm being honest, I know I spent a lot of time assuming that would just all get taken care of because my team would do it, or my soul would take care of it, or it would be magically adjusted, or whatever. I mean, I've had a lot of beliefs that I've had to roll out of, and unroll from. And I know that I had to take responsibility for going into creating that, almost really as a fantasy. And then I had to learn, well, I know why I did create a lot of fantasy, because for children or adults who grew up as children with a lot of childhood trauma, fantasy could is often one of the ways that we would escape reality. That was my way to escape reality and to deal with and even parcel off the part of my life that I forgot for 50 years until I remembered it. And I mean, even that could be the subject of many of these conversations. But what I've had to do is reel back because fantasy saved me. It saved my life. Creating a fantasy life inside my life is actually what got me out into the world safely, where I could take care of myself and be away and thrive, continue to thrive. So on one hand, it saved me, but there's that saying, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, and I thought as a child. It's 1 Corinthians 13. Now I'm an adult and I put away those childish ways. And so putting away fantasy that there is going to be some savior or somebody, or it could even be a partner or a job or anything that's going to save me or us or you, that seems really, really important right now. And I think that if I were to say my experiences internally are showing me what is going on collectively to a great degree, because on the day of the United States elections, back in November, I'm just being reminded that I was with a friend channeling, and all of a sudden what started to come out of me was like channeling to the collective, exactly this: you don't need a savior, you don't need a father figure or a daddy figure. It was really striking. I was really shocked that was coming out of me, because I may or may not have ever thought that, but it was so strong. Like, on one hand, I think it's safe to say that people invest so much in different leaders of any country and any place. It could be a company, invest in so much, with so much fortitude in someone else being responsible for them, like a company, like a country, a state, even a hospital or a doctor. And in this era of sovereignty, personal regaining and reclaiming personal sovereignty, it's so clear now that it's imperative to look at even the minuscule ways we are giving away our power to other people and just not taking responsibility. But I think being a spiritual person, spiritually connected person, sometimes makes that harder, because like we have become able to connect with other beings, other realms, other types of guidance, and they're not here to save us, but what they're here to guide us, and they're always here to share as much as they can. And sometimes swoop in like the hand of God. Yes, sometimes there is like a mama lioness taking her cub and yanking it out of harm. I mean, that does happen, but by and large, the time of realizing I'm the one that has it in me to figure this stuff out on the very human level that might not be spiritual whatsoever, or it might be. So it's this tricky, I think it's a tricky thing. And I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this, like, because it is a co-creation. And what I've come to know is that as I take care of myself physically, like I have to take care of myself physically and then know that there are certain interventions and guidance that come along the way. But my best thing is to keep always moving in the direction that I want things to move, as far as I know. And even if that's very broad, I just know I want freedom, or I just know I want financial freedom, or I just know I want generally health. You know, we don't always know on such a refined level exactly what we're going for, but we can know at a broad level. And in that movement forward as a human, but with a really strong connection, then like leveraging the connections to have the ahas and be shown and become cognizant of the signs and the synchronicities and the things happening. Like right now, feel into that. If you're feeling centered and grounded, that's how we're being shown to be in a human body, looking around, being in the 3D, but also being aware, oh, like, okay, so I want financial freedom. Okay, now I really do need a budget, and I don't know how to do a budget. So what am I going to do about that? Am I going to Google and find a spreadsheet, or am I going to go find an accountant, or whatever it is on the human level? But I find that I wanted to share about this because I find more and more that the guidance coming in is very pragmatic rather than it used to be. It used to be having us look at the spiritual causes of feeling not financially abundant, for instance, like, oh, there must be a past life for that, about that, there must be cords to cut, there must be some spiritual reason. Now, I believe all of that. That has been the experience for a long time in our spiritual work and readings and teachings for great purposes, I believe. But what I'm seeing is the need to come out of that, because especially you all have done like those heroic movements of energy and released relationships and karma and contracts and all of that. So now it's like it feels very much like perhaps even a big theme for 2025 of the rubber hitting the road. As a human who knows who he or she is, you know who you are, that you're this big, broad, divine spirit. But oh my gosh, I'm in a body. And well, wow, how do I be both? And it's almost more important to weigh more on the side of the physical, and tap into the spiritual than I think I used to do personally. I would love to hear from you about that too. So this idea that leveraging our spiritual connection, but while being a badass human, I think that sentence just came through as the main point. Like, how do you be your badass angel self or priestess self or light worker or Lemurian or however you might see your light or your soul or God, just calling yourself God. How do I be this really badass version of that inside this? And what does that mean? And then how do I keep using that to get to the next invention, the next creation, the next idea that carries. It's like what they're saying is let your light body carry the physical body along, but the physical body is what makes it all possible. So give a lot more weight to the physical experience, and then watch how you can use your spiritual connection to change the trends or change the trajectory or change the patterning and the pathway based on where you want to go. So this is like an extension of the message last week that we all got about that the triangulation that the guides were suggesting of how to see the outside world through this triangle-shaped lens, where the top corner is the knowing, I know who I am. And then on one corner is on this shoulder, I know why I'm here. And then on the other shoulder that completes the triangle, I know what I want. And that includes, I know where I want to go. And so it seems very relevant to be suggesting to you all, since you're here and you're contributing, and this is for you because you're here, to think about how am I going to leverage, how am I leveraging my spiritual connection, and how do I already leverage it to really, really, really augment the physical experience, to really uplift the physical experience so that keeps getting light, more and more light filled, and like using the spiritual connection. So now I'm seeing like how they're bringing this around. So like the spiritual connection isn't the end goal. It's actually just a tool for the end goal of whatever it is that you want in the physical, whether you want to save money for a cruise, or you want to start a company, or you want to, whatever it is, you leverage the spiritual connection to help you harvest the gold out of the worldly experiences. Because isn't that why you would come to a planet that has this density? Isn't that why you would come up to a planet that has this density? What if, we talk a lot, that's interesting because we talk about, like, I know I have a lot of light workers have complained or talked about how it's so dense here, we can't, we don't feel free. And I know that's because we know a different kind of freedom, like when we're not in a body, even, but how can you leverage it to feel a lot more free and work and navigate freely, but have the end game be something totally what you might think is 3D, rather than that? Because I work with a lot of people in training to turn on psychic senses and do readings and such, and I've learned that of course that's the focus of the training, but I don't think that's the focus of our whole lives for a lot of us. The focus is on, the things that we're here for, that are tangible, that we touch and feel and play with and experience, but leveraging that spiritual up and down connection. And they're showing this because the tenor of this is that you might want to consider, they're always like that. Okay, like it's this whole council that's surrounded us. You might want to consider this or not. You might want to consider it as a way to move into 2025 so that it's like you're bringing the ideas, the gifts, even the vibrations, the codes, so much. You're bringing that from the higher planes, your higher self, your Akashic records, the realm of spirit, many places, but you're bringing it to help you move through this planetary experience more lightly, more steadfastly in your knowings, more acutely aware than of the synchronicities and so forth. So that's the message today. I do also want to share something because in last night's Akashic Records program, I was channeling, and this very, very clear message came through right from the start from Mother Mary, saying it kind of goes on the heels of this message, but saying, please take note of the quickening of the synchronicities that are happening, where you notice that the reflection of the outer world matching the inner world much more quickly, because we know that's a thing, and that's another way you can leverage your spiritual connection, is by remembering how you position yourself energetically and emotionally and in your heart and with your thoughts. When you're in alignment, things happen synergistically. They said in 2025 there will be quite a quickening of this, but it's up to us, it's up to you to notice how quickly what you think internally manifests externally. And I have to say, I'm going to share you 3 examples already that I've noticed. So 2 days ago, someone asked me what I want more of in my life. And I said, dancing. And then tonight I'm going to a dance class, and it's only been 2 days. And that just happened. And it's pretty profoundly amazing. It just showed up, like inner and outer matching. So hallelujah, I can't wait for that and more of that. And then I was thinking a lot about my brother, whose name is Justin. His name is Justin, and his last name is Rainey. And literally, I was listening. So I was thinking about him yesterday because it was his birthday. So he was in my mind all day, and I wished him happy birthday and such. And then I was listening to Bashar, a video last night while I was cooking dinner, and Bashar had a caller who said, "Hi, my name is Justin, and I'm from rainy Seattle." And I was like, wow, that's just something, because he had been in my mind all day long. And then there was something else that I'm going to forget, but there was a third one already. So that's another key point today, is pay attention to the quickening of those synergistic things that are like, oh my land, I just was thinking about that, or I just asked for that. And when you're in alignment and harmony, those things happen and you notice them. They're always happening, but when you're in harmony, they're a lot more quickly noticed. Oh, I know what the third one was. I went to a doctor's appointment, and then to the gift shop right outside in the lobby. And the doctor's appointment was really great, and a lot of really, really good news. And then I walked into the gift shop, and the Bee Gees song, "How Deep Is Your Love," was playing, and that's my ringtone on my phone. And because I love it, and because the Bee Gees to me represent that, they've always just represented the archangels for me. From the moment I like heard them about 7 years ago and was getting more deeply spiritual, it was like, oh my God, there's this correlation to the archangels. So what do I hear in the right there after a really great appointment and I'm in harmony? That song. And then my friend said, wow, that is not a mistake, Suzanne. And look up, you're in the gift shop with that song playing. And she even took a picture. And then we took a walk and went into a different gift shop. And the song was playing anew. So it was totally a different soundtrack playing again for us. So I think I'm going to leave it with that, with this idea that, first of all, notice the quickening of inner and outer realities matching, but even more so, how can you move forward leveraging your spiritual connection, but not believing that's the end game or even the goal. It's like a tool, and it's a facilitator of a much more courageously lived, vibrant, technicolor life, essentially. So that's the message today. And I thank you all for listening. And I just trust that there's going to be some nugget in there for you. And I would love to hear from you all what you think. And so we're going to have some conversation. So thanks for letting me share. All right.